This is Justin from MakeUseOf.com, and today we're going to be taking a look at the LETV Le1 X600, a $170 phone from a manufacturer that's relatively unknown outside of China. This device comes packed with an octa-core 64-bit MediaTek processor and 3GB of RAM, but only 16GB of storage and no slot for a microSD card. It also has an IR blaster for controlling your TV, an LED notification light at the top, a physical switch for muting the device, and a new USB Type-C port. There are capacitive keys along the bottom instead of on-screen keys, and though it looks like it has two speakers along the bottom, only one of them actually plays audio. The front of the device is made of Corning Gorilla Glass 3, and the display itself is a 1080p IPS panel that's really quite gorgeous and bright. The sides are a nice solid metal, but the back is a very fingerprint-prone plastic that doesn't seem to mesh well with the rest of the device. The LETV Le1 comes with a 13-megapixel camera on the back, as well as a 5-megapixel camera on the front, both of which take pretty impressive photos in my opinion. Diving into the software, this thing is running Android 5.0 Lollipop, but it's skinned pretty heavily in what LETV calls EUI. This interface has a pretty iPhone-like feel, given that you don't have an app drawer, all of your apps are just out on your home screen. There's also a blink feed style newsfeed to the far left of the home screens, but it's entirely in Chinese. If you don't know any Chinese, you're probably best off downloading an alternative launcher. And speaking of that, this phone actually does not ship with the Google Play Store. Thankfully, there's an easy way to add it, which I've written about in more detail in the full article. Performance-wise, I've never had any issues with the LETV Le1. I was able to play games, read articles, and multitask for hours on end without any problems or lag. It didn't even get that hot. But I couldn't use it for much longer than that since the battery life really wasn't phenomenal. It wasn't terrible, but it was just pretty average, which is sad given the 3000 mAh battery that it has. When listening to music or watching videos, I found that the speaker at the bottom was incredibly loud. My main problem with this device, however, was that I could never get it to connect to my network. I'm hoping that this was just a problem with my specific device or network, but I really can't be sure. So, unfortunately, during my testing, I was able to make and receive calls and texts, but I was only able to use the internet over Wi-Fi. So, all in all, I can't really wholeheartedly recommend this phone since it wouldn't connect to data with my wireless carrier, but other than that, this phone has a lot going for it. For under $200, you get a pretty powerful device with a good camera, a quality speaker, and a super nice screen, even if you do have to put up with Chinese apps and install the Play Store yourself. Be sure to head on over to MakeUseOf.com to read the full review and see how you could win an LETV Le1 for yourself.